Welcome to Oddball. I'm Charlotte Wilder. That's Amin Elhassan, as always. And today is Trivia Tuesday. I'm very excited for today. We have an amazing guest. She is a senior staff writer for The Ringer, a New York Times best-selling author, and her latest book, Dream, The Life and Legacy of Hakeem Olajuwon, just hit bookshelves. There it is. It means holding it up. Mirin Fader, welcome to Oddball.
Thanks for having me.
We're just so excited to use this beautiful little format we have to talk to you about your amazing book. Here are the rules. It's very simple. We have up to 6 different questions for each contestant. We'll see how many we get to. Whoever gets the most questions right is the winner. And you are encouraged to think out loud. So if you're working through something, let us know what your thought process is. But you are only allowed one final answer. And in the event of a tie, a subjective tiebreaker question by me will be posed for the deciding point. That's always really fun. Mirin, Amin, are we ready?
I'm ready. Yeah,
Okay.
So this is a Hakeem Olajuwon themed day, right? The questions are all gonna right? Am I correct there?
Yes.
Good. I've got the source material right here. Just give me
You can't cheat.
Well,
you
of course
can't look.
I can. I'm gonna browse through the book.
Yeah, if you hold it below the camera, there's no way we'll ever know.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, what could possibly be
yeah.
I should have
that would
remembered.
Mirin, I'm sure you've got these. I am notoriously terrible at trivia. We were doing a draft thing where I had to literally just pick an NBA player. As someone who hosts an NBA show, just straight up couldn't think of a basketball player to save my life. So you're gonna do amazing. Mirin, your first question. Hakeem's impact on basketball started before he ever entered the NBA. What was the nickname of Hakeem's college teams during his time at the University of Houston?
I slam a jamma.
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. See, I was like, please don't worry.
I was gonna go with what was the nickname of the Muslim Teachers College team?
I was thinking, how far back are we going right now?
Right. Well, Phi Slamma Jamma, aka the Houston Cougars, made it to 3 consecutive Final Fours from 1982 to 1984. My favorite fun fact about this is that it was coined by the sports writer Thomas Bonk, which is just the best last name I've ever heard. I have a question for both of you. And Mirin, I want to start with you. What is your earliest memory seeing or hearing about Hakeem?
Honestly, just watching somebody continue to shake and spin and spin. Like growing up in LA, I watched Kobe, and every time he would do that, back him down, be at the elbow, you'd always hear, oh, Dream taught him that. And so for me, that was so interesting because Hakeem was not my era, so I learned of him through his disciple, I guess you could say.
That's so cool. You saw his legacy continuing on and literally taught you about him. Amin, what's your earliest memory?
Oh, I mean, my family is Muslim, so Hakeem was definitely a hero in the household and someone that I grew up watching. Me and my cousin, who's downstairs right now, that's his favorite player of all time, and you just marveling at again the footwork and the skill, and the urban legends, a lot of which you can find out about in this book about how he learned. He was a handball player. He didn't start playing basketball till he was 16 or 17, and that was the whole thing. If Hakeem did it, I could do it. Of course, neglecting the fact that I wasn't 7 feet tall or anything like that. But obviously getting to work in the league and work alongside people that played against them, and then digging deeper into kind of the lore of what made him so tough to guard and all that, it's at this point, it's a lifelong kind of obsession.
Yeah. Okay. Well, your follow-up question, your first question is a follow-up to this one. Yikes. Which U.S. president was made an honorary member of the Phi Slamma Jamma fraternity?
Is this for both of us? No.
This is for me.
No, it's for you. Okay.
It's for me.
And Jen, look at my face as a hint. Yikes.
I mean, there's a lot of yikes presidents.
I know, but think about the 80s.
Okay, so that's what I was gonna say. Was he an active sitting president at the time, or did he become president later?
No, he was there. He was
Ronald
elected.
Reagan.
Yeah. And the follow-ups here we are just moving along. So, Mirin.
You know what? I just say, because I thought maybe it could have been George Bush, because Bush is from Texas.
Right.
Maybe. But then I was like, well, no, Bush was 88, and that was long after Phi Slamma Jam was already done, so it had to be Reagan. Unless George W. Bush comes in and says, hey, I really love the Houston Cougars. So that's why I started like double and tripling down on myself.
Yeah. Hey, I love the Cougars. Watch this drive. Okay, Mirin, your second question. When Hakeem was drafted by the Rockets, they already had a star big man out of the University of Virginia. What was that player's name?
Ralph Sampson.
Yeah. All right. Ralph had been
on the... too bad here.
No, you're doing amazing. Ralph had been the Rockets' top draft pick in 1983. And my question for you, Mirin, my follow-up is, how did he respond to the team selecting Hakeem in 84?
I think a lot of people assume that there would be some kind of animosity, but like Ralph was thrilled because he's 7'4" and ahead of his time. And he's tired of being put under the basket and just told to be big and bulky and stand there. So he was kind of like, what we see now in Wemby, like he wanted to be around the perimeter. So Hakeem was like his chance to finally float along and see if he could be more versatile. But it was really sweet. He took him under his wing like a big brother almost. And so to this day, he's just like, I love Hakeem. Like, I was really happy he joined us.
Is there a story he told you that sticks out to you? So, an anecdote.
Yeah, the first All-Star game, they both made it. It was Hakeem's rookie year. And, Hakeem doesn't really even still know how all of this is going. Like, he only started playing basketball like 4 years, which is crazy. So I guess he thought he was going to play more minutes in the All-Star game than he did, especially in that era with a lot more, superstar players. That's the era of Bird. We have all these other superstars. And he's kind of disappointed that he didn't play a lot. And Ralph Sampson just kind of puts his arm around him and he's like, young fella, you got time. It'll be okay. And I just kind of loved it. It's really sweet, and he was like, you'll have plenty other chances.
Yeah, that is adorable. Oh, I love that. You don't hear a ton of those. It's usually like, and he was so competitive that he literally ripped the other guy's hair out. And it's like, oh, it's sort of nice when you hear a sweet one. Okay, Amin, my question for you. Question 2. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hakeem was drafted in 1984. As we said, who was the MVP that year?
So
think out loud.
The 83-84 season?
Mm-hmm.
It was Bird.
Yep. You're right.
3 straight MVPs, right?
Yeah.
84, 85, 86.
Hakeem and Larry faced off in the 86 NBA Finals, and the Celtics won 4-2. The Celtics beat Hakeem and Ralph in the 86 finals. And what do you think the expectations were for Hakeem? How had that changed going to the finals in just his second season?
Was this for me?
This is for either of you.
Okay. The big thing was like the Rockets had upset the Lakers. That was a big deal, right? Like, because this were in the thick of Lakers versus Celtics, Bird versus Magic. And we're looking for that, that 84 obviously was the Celtics on top, 85, it was the Lakers. And so like this is going to be the rubber match year 86. And we didn't get it because the Rockets kind of crashed the party. This is young Hakeem Olajuwon. It's only his second year in the league. He's already gone to the finals. And it was an expected result because you had the upstart team versus like the establishment. But again, them even being there was a surprise to everybody.
Yeah. I can't imagine. It would have been so fun to have Twitter around for that. I mean, not really, because I think Twitter's messed up a lot, but the reactions for the NBA would be enjoyable. Okay, Mirin, your third question. Which Phi Slamma Jamma alum joined Hakeem on the Rockets to win a title in 1995?
Clyde Drexler.
Yeah.
She's throwing me some softballs. I can't lie. Yours are a little bit harder. This is sort of a theme we do here, Mirin. We want to make sure that Amin has to really struggle or at least think. Yeah,
Mirin, question 3 for me will be, The Iran-Contra scandal happened along the same lines. Who did Oliver North testify
How did you know?
to
Did someone
in
leak the
Congress?
questions?
You're gonna have to phone a friend. I will be here. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, there you go.
I've got a
Mirin,
friend.
what you have the book.
The book. Yeah.
What is Clyde and Hakeem's relationship like, and how are these two Hall of Famers remembered in Houston?
Oh my God, they're just best friends to this day. Really, what they gave Houston was a pride. You know, Houston is so used to coming up short and getting there and then losing. It's just been a wound in the city for so long, especially when they got to all those Final Fours in college. And so to come back and win it together was so special. And it also felt like, you know, to everyone in Houston, like they watched those two grow up. And it's funny because when Clyde was like in discussions to come to the team, the strength coach just came up to Hakeem in the locker room and was like, "Man, what do you think if we could get Clyde?" And Hakeem is like, "We're not going to get Clyde. Like,
Right.
How are we going to get Clyde?" And he was like, "Man, if we get Clyde, we win the championship." And he was right.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of hard to argue, you know.
Right.
I can see too feeling like, what are you, in what world is that going to happen? And then it happens, and it's just amazing. All right, we're going to go to break, but when we come back, it'll be Amin's third question about the OPEC.
What inflation was, how much a barrel of oil cost in 1988, you know. Go ahead.
Yeah, you have a second to Google, Amin. Don't complain about it. I gave you a heads up. All right. We will be right back. Welcome back to Oddball with our special guest, Mirin Fader, the author of the new amazing book about Hakeem Olajuwon called Dream, which is an amazing name. It's so lucky that when guys have nicknames that it's just like the perfect thing for a book. Do you just feel, does that make you happy, Mirin?
Yes. And I don't know, intentional, unintentional, each chapter is one word. So now I think I just have to like stick with that.
I love that. Keep it simple. Okay, when we last saw our fearless heroes here, Amin was waiting for his third question. It is not about the price of oil. It is about which of Hakeem's teammates set a then NBA record for most threes in a playoff game during the 1995 finals. And I have a hint if you need it.
No, don't need a hint.
Okay.
I'm 99% sure it's this guy with a 1% chance it's his backup, but it's not his backup. It's not Sam Cassell. It's Kenny the Jet Smith.
Where's that music? There we go. Yes, you are.
They used to talk about. They used to bring it up all the time on Inside the NBA or in the early years, as they're like, "This is Kenny Smith, the all-time record holder for da da da." And then after a while, it's Kenny. Everyone knew who he was, so you didn't have to bring those qualifiers up anymore.
I think they should bring it back for the potentially last season of it. You should tell them. I mean,
just remind me. I forgot that there's pour out a little liquor.
I know. Kenny had 7 threes in game 1 of the 1995 finals. Mirin, a follow-up for you here. What has Hakeem's career looked like after basketball, and why he didn't pursue a career in media? You know, a guy like Kenny, it seems like that's such an easy avenue. Do you have any insight into why he didn't do that?
Yeah, I was thinking that as well when you guys were talking about that. I think personality-wise, also just devotion to Islam, he is very much like a private person, doesn't want to do anything that is going to generate praise or attention to himself. Like a lot of people say that, but he really means it. He was actually really excited for basketball to end in the sense that a new life was beginning for him. So he goes to the university in Amman, Jordan, and he starts studying Arabic full time because he wanted to read the Quran in its most authentic text, obviously in Arabic. And I just thought that was so interesting because, of course, he has a lot of coaching opportunities he could have done, but he wanted to immerse himself in Arabic. And he lived in this beautiful house on this giant hill, became a beloved figure in Amman, obviously. And then realized that, he could make an impact coaching-wise, mentoring, doing these one-off sessions with Kobe, LeBron, Giannis, didn't have to be a full-time coach. I think he likes being part of the community in Houston. He's got a mosque there in downtown. And he's also super successful at real estate.
Yeah, that's what
Really?
I was gonna. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. I remember one of the earliest things was downtown Houston when it wasn't like it is now.
Right.
They said Hakeem was buying up parking lots and all the
Everything.
different things and paying everything in straight cash, right?
Right, because you're not allowed to have a loan in Islam, and it was at first really difficult. I talked to his real estate partner, who's his best friend. At first, the guy was like, "What do you mean?
Right.
We're gonna lose money, not make money." And Hakeem is like, "No, like I won't compromise my principles." And he's made more money easily in real estate than any of his years in basketball.
It's so wild to me when people say they are about something and then actually follow through on it, which can truly like famous people or athletes being like, "Hey, this is what I care about. This is my deal." And then everything they do after playing backs that up feels very rare. And I think that's why, Hakeem is also so fascinating because we don't see him all the time. He's not like a Kenny or a Chuck up there. Mirin, the fourth question for you is, which NBA end of year award is now called the Hakeem Olajuwon Trophy?
The Defensive Player of the Year award. It's
that depoy, baby.
It's so funny because I was at the house of his like close friend who's like a mentor father figure, and Hakeem was there, and it was literally a few days after this award was announced. And there was this company over and they're like, "Oh my God, Dream, like, what is it like? You've been, the award is named after you." And everybody's like wanting some big answer. And he just kind of like shrugs and is like, "That's really cool." Like, like clearly honored, but not, effusive. And I just think like, wow, that's the most him thing ever, but it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. He won in 93 and 94. I mean, who's the closest thing to Dream today in the NBA? I mean, Rudy Gobert has won 4 depoys, 4 Hakeem Olajuwon trophies, but it doesn't feel like necessarily the right comparison.
No, because Rudy's a kind of a one-dimensional player in that regard, and Hakeem it's like the best defensive player, also one of the most dominant offensive players. To be honest with you, the closest comp, and I remember saying this when I was a scout or when I was kind of scouting him or whatever, Joel Embiid, because it's the combination of like being African is kind of like a side kind of tangential thing, but the reality is a combination of late starter in the game, very, very quick learning curve, right? I remember watching him at Kansas and talking to the Kansas coaches, and they say we would show him stuff in the morning, and then that night in the game he would do it, and it would look so fluid, like he'd been doing it all his life. And that's kind of what people said about Hakeem as well. And then not only dominant offensively, but also a dominant defensive player. Joel Embiid is as well. He's a great defensive anchor. The difference is obviously the health concerns between, that he's had.
Right.
Hakeem was a way more durable player, but I think that would be the comp I would make in the league today.
Yeah. All right. Amin, your fourth question. Hakeem was inducted into the Hall of Fame this is a two-parter. A, what year? B, name 2 other guys who are inducted with him. And I just made this question harder on the fly. The real question in here gives you the year, so you can tell me you want that, but I thought I would just up the ante a little bit.
I think, okay, so...
Mirin, I have so much power when I do this. It's incredible.
I mean, wow, the relief that I just, I know what year, but the part 2, wow, good luck to me.
So I'm... It's either 2005 or 2006. Back then, it was you needed 5 years after retirement, and I want to say his last season.
Okay. I'm gonna stop you because it was actually 2008, and I want you to have a chance at getting 2 of the guys.
Michael Jordan. No, 2008 wasn't Michael Jordan. 2008.
No.
Wait. Okay. So 2008 would mean 2003 was his last year. So then, who was?
I mean, there's a Miami guy.
Alonzo Mourning.
Pat Riley. He called you a Miami guy. I mean,
okay.
You got Patrick Ewing, Pat Riley, Catchy Rush, which is a hard name to say quickly. So here's a follow-up, Mirin, for you. Hakeem didn't start playing ball until age 17, as we've talked about. And a handball player before that. What was it that made him be like, oh, wait, I'm going to play basketball and I'm great at it?
I think it was the mentorship of his coaches in Lagos. Like, I interviewed all of them. They're in their 80s now, still living there. And I think he felt like such a sense of community and support that these people would literally go up to him every day and say, please, will you come out for the team? I think you can be great. We don't see that type of support and mentorship. And I really think at the heart of his story is about giving back because all of these people gave to him, right? And beyond that, Moses Malone, all these people that mentored him, that's why he has such a strong foundation for doing the same. But basketball was not something that his parents wanted him to do. They thought it was a waste of time. They thought sports was going to interfere with his education. So he was just so in love with it, I think, because he had people saying, okay, you can be good. And I think that encouragement goes a long way.
I love that.
It's in the book, right? And it's really the start of the book, which is to me, the most unknown parts of his life.
Right.
Is really the first 3 chapters. What was life like for him in Nigeria? Because for my entire life, the Hakeem Olajuwon story starts with he gets to the airport and it's too cold, so he's not going to go to St. John. Like, that's the first story. Everything before that is a mystery. It's like, yeah, he used to play soccer, and then someone said try basketball, and he said okay, and that's it. And what I love about your book is the first few chapters are about coaches literally begging him to play basketball, and he's like, I don't know, and they just kind of stuck with it, every day. And the other thing that was incredible, he was a very talented handball player.
Right.
Charlotte. He would go for a school out onto tournaments, and they had him play for both teams. He'd play the handball game, and then he'd rush over and play the basketball game.
I love that.
One of the great stories in there, Mirin, that you have included here is that, including one day where the games were at the same time. So they were like, okay, you play 5 minutes over here, and then you rush over to the other place and play 5 minutes over there.
I love
That's
it.
incredible.
So much.
I think kids these days are soft. I think we have to have someone playing soccer and football at the same in increments. It's waiting to. We'll call that the pulling a dream.
Yeah.
All right, Mirin, your 5th question. What Muslim NBA player inspired Hakeem's decision to fast during the season?
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. I loved this part of the book, like reporting, because again, like the stories you hear versus like what actually happened. Nobody had credited Mahmoud for this. Like, nobody. They just assumed that Hakeem had always been fasting, but he doesn't fast until after that second title. And it's through a conversation that the two of them had that Hakeem was like, oh, you fast? Like, oh, I should be fasting. It's like, this competitive desire in good deeds, right? Like Hanif Khalil, who's Mahmoud's manager, who is also Muslim and prayed alongside Olajuwon for many years in Houston, said basically, like, in Islam, we don't compare bank accounts. We don't compare these worldly things that don't matter. But if somebody is doing something good and you see it, you want to then replicate that goodness. And so I just love that it came again from like community, friendship. Like, that really is the theme of the book.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I mean, real quick here, we have a minute left. Who is name an NBA player today who hit a left-handed game winner while fasting for Ramadan last season?
Oh, it's Kyrie.
Oh,
yeah.
I got confused by the question.
Losing my mind.
Like, what?
There you go.
The first day, the weirdest thing, the first name I thought it was DeAndre Jordan. I was like, but he's not Muslim. Like, what? Did he hit a game winner even? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, you mean wasn't supposed to hit it with his left hand? I got it. Yeah.
There you go. Mirin, thank you so much. Again, everybody, you can find Mirin's book, Dream, The Life and Legacy of Hakeem Olajuwon, in bookstores. Thank you so much for your time and insight. I love the stories you've told us, and I think people are really going to learn so much more than they ever thought they didn't know about Dream from your book.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Well, listen, you're going to have to come back, so don't say that too loud.
I know, she's going to go hard on me the next time.
Yeah, we're going to really put your feet to the fire when there's not a book
Economic
at the center
policy.
of it.
That's right.
All right, everybody. See you tomorrow.
This is the most fun I've had with an interview.
That's so sweet.
And I don't know about you guys, but like I hate listening to my own voice. So I'm like really sick of myself.
Yeah, a Friday after a week of doing shows, I'm like, oh my God, Charlotte, shut up.